Maybe the woman officer suggested, her tone now slightly patronizing. You should give him a few dollars. Might be easier than calling us every day. He looks like he could really use it. I stared at them, incredulous. That was their solution. Give him money. I felt surge of helpless anger. So you are not going to do anything. Well, talk to him, sir. The burly one said, already walking towards the old man. Tell him not to bother you, but honestly, there is not much more we can do. They had a quiet word with him. I could hear what was said. The old man nodded a few times. Then the officer came back to me. He says he would not bother you again, sir. The woman said, hopefully that's the end of it. They got back in their car and drove off. I looked at the old man. He was looking at me in the same empty, acceptant gaze. Hadn't moved. The officer intervention had done nothing. He was still here, waiting. A wave of defeat washed over me. They were right. What else could be done? I was stuck with him, defeated, frustrated, and just wanting to be over. I reached into my wallet. I didn't have much cash, but I pulled out a 20, but not a lot, but not a little either. Enough, I hope, to make him leave for good this time. Maybe enough for a decent meal, a warm place tonight. I walked over to him, held out the bill. Here, I said, my voice flat. Take this and please just go. His skeletal figure, surprisingly nimble, plucked the 20 from my hand. For the first time, I saw something flicker in those clouded eyes, a glint, and his lips pulled back into the smile grimace wider than this time. I sent shiver down my spine. He didn't say a word. He just turned with the same slow, shuffling gait and walked away. He didn't look back. He rounded the corner and was gone. I stood there for a long moment, the spot where he would stood feeling suddenly strangely empty. A profound sense of relief washed through me. Finally, it was over. He was gone. Maybe the 20 was all it took. Maybe he would finally got what he wanted from me. The rest of the day passed in a blur of nomenclature. I went to work, focused on my task. The constant background hum of anxiety I would be living with seemed to be faded. I have lighter. I actually ate a proper dinner that night, slept soundly for the first time in weeks. I woke up the next morning feeling heavy, no emotional heavy, physically heavy. My shoulder ached, a deep burning ache, as if I would be lifting weights all night. My neck was stiff. I groaned, rolling out of bed. Must have slept funny. I shuffled towards the bathroom. The ache in my shoulder intensified as with each step. I felt like I was carrying something substantial. I stretched, trying to work out the kinks, but the feeling persisted. A dull, crushing pressure centered right between my shoulder blades, radiating outwards. I reached the bathroom, flicked the light, and looked in the mirror. And I screamed. It wasn't loud scream, more of a choked, strangled gasp. My blood ran colder than any chilled room in the mortuary. My heart hammered against my ribs, threatening to break free. There, in this mirror, pressed on my shoulder, was the old man. He was sitting there, cross-legged, as if my shoulder were the most natural throne in this world. His skeletal legs were hooked around my neck, his hideously thin arms wrapped around my head, his gloved fingers resting lightly on my temple. He was dead weight, a distraught, leaning gargoyle, and he was smiling. That smile, same wide, lipless grimace, but this time it was triumph, knowing his clouded eyes reflected in the mirror stared directly into mine. I whirled around, hand flying up to my shoulders, accepting to feel him, to grab him, to throw him off. Nothing my hand met, only my skin on skin. my own shirt. There was nothing there. I spun back to the mirror, heart pounding. He was still there, still perched on my shoulder, still smiling that awful smile.